What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Got a special client interview today with Carrie. Carrie's been in the program for what, like 6 months now. And it's been awesome working with her. But Carrie, don't want to steal your thunder. Why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, and we'll take it from there.
Hi, I am Carrie. I own Have a Day Coaching and I run an in-depth, whole, full service recruiting program for softball athletes.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you for jumping on the channel.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, cool. Let's take it back to before you joined the program and before maybe you were even thinking about doing anything online. Like, why don't you kind of walk me through a little bit of your background and like kind of the progression into, thinking online could be the move for you.
For sure. So I was previously a facility owner and I was stuck in the hourly lesson mode, like 7 days a week. I was coaching a travel ball team and I was giving upwards of 30 lessons a week, and it was just I was burnt out and it was stressful, and I felt like I was giving away my time for free for, I don't know, close to 16 years, which is a really long time. So I felt like I really needed to shift and find more value in what I can offer people and what I can give to the softball community on a larger scale.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I would say you definitely have like an interesting journey inside the program, but let's talk a little bit like leading up to you wanting to join. Like, how long had you been kind of following along with the content and things like that before you were like, all right, let's give this a go?
Oh my gosh. So I wasn't following along at all. It just popped up on my feed at one point, and I don't know. It might have been like an ad where it said stop giving lessons inside a facility. And I was like, yes, this is where I'm going. And I mean, I DM'd, I booked my call the next day, and then I signed on. So I watched a few like testimonials and really dove into like the people that were already in the program, and I looked at their success and what they were doing. And so it pretty much sold me right after seeing that, and I just jumped in.
Nice. What do you think allowed you to just like watch a couple other people's videos and like do your research on them to give you the confidence to be like, yeah, this could work for me too?
I felt like I was at the same level of those people. I felt like I had the same knowledge, I had the same background. I was a former D1 athlete, so I felt like I had a lot of experience, and I knew what I was doing was unique. So I felt like I found something that isn't really out there yet, and I knew that I needed help to try and figure out how to really put it together.
For sure. For sure. And then that's when the algorithm found you. You DM,
Yep.
you book the call, and then let's say let's start at like the beginning of the program for like maybe the first, I don't know, 30 days, right? You jumped into the program in the first month. How was that experience?
It was awesome. It was really easy to follow along with the modules. It was really easy to jump into the community. I do have to say, as soon as we got on group calls, it was like a little intimidating because everyone's in a different place. But as I went through the modules and had one-on-ones with you guys, I felt like far more comfortable. I felt like I knew what direction to take my program, and I got the right support. It was like, hey, yeah, you're doing the right thing, or no, don't do that, abandon that, go back to what you're doing. It just felt like there was clear direction in how I can build this program super fast with success.
100%. 100%. And you have a little bit different of an offer than most of the people in the program. So
Yes.
was it always like that, or how did that kind of come about?
It's something that I've always done, like within me being a softball coach or what I did previously as like a facility owner. Um, and I just didn't want to do lessons anymore. I didn't want to keep doing that grind. I wanted to give something else to athletes to where they could actually, make it in college and stay and not hit the transfer portal. So I think that shift happened when honestly, it was really the support of the community and you guys telling me like, yeah, no, nobody's doing that. Go do it.
Yeah. Were you a little bit maybe like nervous to like make that shift, or what was that like?
Yes. So nervous. Yeah, I mean, it's totally different than training online. I feel like being able to train an athlete and help them out in their individual work is a cakewalk. And now I'm putting myself out there to strangers on the internet and trying to sell a program guaranteeing someone's success is a little bit more pressure, but I feel really good about what was built.
For sure. Why do you think you're able to have confidence in your like guarantee in your offer?
I think the way I built out my program, and I think the way, I mean, not only my knowledge and my path in softball, but using the program that you built and how we learn through the remote training university and the hybrid training or playbook. Um, it helped me see that, hey, there's all this structure and all this information and like, hey, if you just do this, it's going to work. And I was like, well, why can't I do that? Why can't I build that? And I use that as kind of like a not a stepping stone, but a support system for me to build something out that could guarantee something.
For sure. And when you talk about like the program and the modules and things like that, like for somebody who's never seen what like an online program looks like, can you maybe paint the picture for somebody of like kind of like the entire structure and how we've laid it out?
So the program is essentially a self-paced model where it almost, well, it's not almost, it progressively goes into the steps of what you need to be doing to build a program, an online presence, content creation, how to do sales and market yourself, and everything kind of piles onto each other to where you start and you could be knowing absolutely nothing about online sales, online program, remote training. And if you start with that first module and go all the way through to the end, you're going to build something out that is exceptional.
That's sick. That's sick. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you've modeled a lot of what we've done in your program, correct?
Absolutely.
And how would you say your athletes have responded to something like that?
Um, well, I give them a Google form after every module to kind of rate what each module is, and every single one was a 10. So every single module, they've learned something. They are leaps and bounds above and like past where most athletes are in their own recruiting process, but they've all said that they've learned something new every single time.
See, that's interesting to me because, most people will tell me that, people can't learn things online, that they have to be there in person or, whatever the case is, right? Why do you think your athletes are still able to get like even better information, better outcomes than they have in the past by working with you online?
I think it's because of the way I've laid it out to where they're self-paced and they're learning. It's a ton of information in there with how to advocate for yourself. And on top of that, they're getting a lot of, one-on-one time with me via a screen, that everything that they're learning is far more than I could give them once a week. It's like they have worksheets to do, they have homework, they have everything they need to do spelled out for them. So it's it's on them to get better, but they 100% buy into the program.
Yeah. And it's probably fair to say that you need like a special type of athlete to actually like get results out of your program in specific.
Oh yeah, they have to be driven and they have to be, I mean, if you don't self-advocate for yourself and you're not mature enough to go through this program, you're probably not mature enough to play college softball.
Mm. So you would say you're really not trying to work with everybody.
No.
Who would you say like is your ideal client, like top to bottom. Like they come to you, it's like, oh wow, guaranteed, like slam dunk.
Someone who is literally following the module step by step, going on our calendar, looking at what they're supposed to do that day, getting it done, and then seeing the results happen. And quite a few of them in the program are doing it. I say jump, they say how high, and they're getting the offers and the looks.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works, right? Like
Yeah,
you follow a proven process, the process works.
weird. It's like it's
So
a scam.
yeah, exactly. What would you say to the people out there who maybe see my stuff on Instagram and they're like, this has to be a fucking scam?
It's not a scam at all. It is something where it's not going to be done for you, but if you can't figure out how to make money doing this program, then it sincerely was not meant for you because there's no way that you should fail within this program.
So who's the type of person then that like it's meant for then? Like who does that look like?
I mean, someone who's really driven to one, make an impact in the sports world, in the coaching world, and then someone who values their time and their effort, and someone who's willing to put in the work to kind of mold it and put it all together.
Yeah. What would you say are like the biggest challenges that people face inside the program?
Oh man, I think it's fear or lack of confidence. I think content creation tends to be a bottleneck because people are nervous to put themselves out there. But once you get over that bump, it's like it's easy.
Yeah. No, I mean I completely agree. Like we know that people making content and it's not even making the content, it's the willingness to make the content, right?
Right.
Where do you think that stems from? Like why do you think so many people are like averse to making content?
I think sometimes people don't want to think. I think people think they're coming off as salesmen, or it's like just trying to make a dollar off of the content that you're making versus like, no, I'm really trying to make an impact. And this is the way the world is now. You do have to put yourself out there so that people trust you. It's the same thing if you were doing in-person lessons, it's word of mouth and who says what. But when you're trying to work online, word of mouth is the internet. Word of mouth is Instagram. You got to give yourself a name so that people trust you.
That is such good insight. Like I actually just wrote that down because it's so interesting. Like a lot of people, and maybe somebody watching this right now has like this fear or like this belief that like social media is so much different. Like online training is so much different. And it's like this whole new world. So what would you say to somebody like that who's like, fuck, I know I need to do this online, but like I have to put myself out there. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that.
Get over it.
You know what, Carrie? I've always appreciated your straightforward and direct approach,
Yeah.
but I think that's why you've been able to like, number one, not only have success, we can get into like that here in a second, but also the community aspect too. Like you've been helping out a ton of people in the community. Like, what would you say about the community in general as like yeah, we'll just leave it at that. What would you say about the community?
It is so motivating. The community is awesome. Not only do you get to meet like really cool people all over the United States and some in like Canada and stuff, like people are from everywhere. And it's really cool to see everyone bounce ideas off each other. Everybody is really supportive. Like nobody comes across as they want to be better than the next person that's in the group. Everyone helps each other. If someone doesn't have their ideal athlete, they send them to someone else in the community. It's just something that, that internal networking is so huge. And it's been such a positive impact on my own program. Just in my life in general, being able to share ideas with like-minded people is pretty huge.
Yeah. And in terms of the community as well, like what do you think is like kind of the driving factor for people wanting to like help each other and not just like save the information for themselves?
I mean, I think we all have the same goal and we all want the same thing for each other. At the end of the day, it's about helping the athletes. And yeah, we all want to make 10K a month, 20K a month, but it's not going to hurt anybody to help somebody.
Yeah. Because a lot of people will tell me like online training is saturated. How do you feel about that? Like that social media is saturated.
I mean, in certain aspects, I think it's saturated, but I think that's more so like influencers and kind of doing that lifestyle. But as far as online training, I think there's a trainer for every person. I think there's a right fit for every person. So while there may be a lot of people online, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best fit for that athlete.
For sure. And I know you've invested in a couple online trainers yourself inside the program.
I have, yes.
Can you walk us through that whole process and what made you want to go with somebody inside the program?
I feel like I sit back and I watch people and I watch how they interact. I see what they do as far as, I mean, their content is one thing, but just who they are as a person and what I know would fit the mold for my son, who is in some of these trainers programs. And I went with athletes who I thought would relate to him well and were in the position he was in and where he wants to be. And I mean, why wouldn't I go within my own community where I'm like in constant contact with these people?
Yeah, that's sick. And how would you say that your son has enjoyed like online training?
Oh, he loves it. Yeah, he thinks his instructors are awesome. He loves talking to him. He's we always say he's like a 70-year-old man in a 12-year-old body. So he loves to yap. He loves to just talk baseball. So the people that he works with have a pretty strong connection with him right now, and it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, that is sick. I couldn't believe it when who was it? Maybe Ben was like, "Yeah, I got a call with Carrie tomorrow." I'm like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
Just tapping in there. I'm like, what do you do? Yeah, let's do that. What do you do? Yep, let's do that.
No, I love it. I love it. Okay. So in turn, let's go back to like your journey in the program, right? Because obviously you've been able to help a lot of people out. You've gotten a lot of value out of it. You've modeled your program after a lot of like what we do as well. But in the sense of like maybe going from, okay, first 30 days, first 60 days, a lot of people say they're, maybe a little bit overwhelmed, or I think you mentioned intimidated on group calls. What do you feel like was the transition to where you were actually like starting to pick up that momentum?
I feel like that happened when I started to really process what I needed to be putting out for my content, where I needed to focus and um, how to really generate leads more. And I think once I hit that, and once I had like, I mean, I built my program from the bottom up. I joined right at the end of October and I dropped my program in December and I was just like, fingers crossed, let's go. Like I'm literally begging people to trust me to and believe in me. And then for me to get my first stranger from the internet in January paid client, I was like, okay, no, I got this. Okay, no, I got this. And then I got someone a college look in like 14 days. I was like, let's go. And I think that was more a confidence boost for me to just be like super assertive and be one proud of what I'm doing, but really putting myself out there going, no, I know what I'm doing. I'm good at this and pushing my content a little bit harder.
100%. And had you ever posted like consistent content before you joined the program?
No.
How was that like learning curve?
I think my first call with Matt, he asked me what my nerves were about and I said content. I just don't I was that person that I was saying I was like I'm nervous to put myself out there. I don't usually like to be on social media a lot and now it's become one of my like stronger suits. So I'm like, well, I don't know why I was afraid in the first place.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you start piling up the content, you start getting results. Let's fast forward to present day. Where is your program at right now, and how has that progression come about?
My program is thriving. I am busy AF. So it's awesome though. It's like I'm so excited to be busy about this. I'm constantly getting leads and sales. I have 15 athletes in my program currently. I have partnered with a baseball academy in Hawaii to help build out their recruiting program and work with all their athletes.
How'd you
Um,
find them?
I found him in the community.
Okay,
I
keep
sure
going.
did.
Sorry.
I sure did. Dropped that right there. And I'm partnering with some teams in the fall as well. So the momentum is really kicking right now.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
How does it feel knowing that, like, let's say in October, you paid some stranger, some random dude on the internet saying stop giving lessons, and then now here you are, you're actually coming out here to Arizona in a couple
Yes.
days.
Yep.
How how has that whole thing come about? Like, how do you like looking back? Could you have imagined everything that's transpired?
No, not at all. Not at all. I literally was like, okay, this will probably take like a year and it's gonna take time to build. I made my initial investment back in about 3, 4 months. And then I hit over 10K about 2 months, or no, maybe a month after that, with more on the way. So no, I never thought that this would be it. I never thought that going on a sales call, I could pitch my price, not offer a payment plan whatsoever, and just get boom, 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 boom signed up.
How much do you charge right now?
I charged 2,000 for 6 months.
And does anybody flinch at that price?
No.
Why do you think that that is? Because I know a lot of people will say like, "Oh, I can't charge 1,000 or 2,000 up front. Like nobody's gonna pay for that. My lessons are only 75 bucks or, whatever."
I mean, you're having 24/7 access to a professional. I mean, 250 a month shouldn't, I mean, that's nothing, but for the value that you're getting or the quality of content that you're getting. And, 2006 months, if I can commit a girl, I'm possibly saving them hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, in the long scheme of things, the investment is much bigger than, I mean, sorry, no, the investment is much smaller than what they could potentially pay for 4, 5, 6 years of college.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Um, what would you say to somebody who's watching this right now that's maybe on the fence, not sold yet, not 100% sure if this is for them, but they've already talked to our team or they're thinking about talking to our team? Like, what would you say to that person?
I would say if this conversation got you excited at the opportunity of starting from absolutely zero to having a potentially really successful year, like bigger than anything I've made at my salary job, like if that excites you, it's a no-brainer.
Fuck yeah. Perfect. Um, is there anything else you would like to say while the camera's rolling? I know you got a sales call here in a little bit.
Yeah. I'm going to land that sales call. Um, I would just say, if you're on the fence and this is something that you've played around with in your head, like maybe I could, maybe I couldn't, take the bet on yourself and invest, and it's worth it because it's life changing, not just for me, but I can see it for everyone in the community. People are flipping their lives over in just like a month's time.
Yeah. Carrie, I appreciate you so
I
much.
appreciate you.
Of course. No, I just want to say it publicly too. Like, we really do appreciate like all the work that you have put in, not only on your own program, but like you're mad willing to help. And if I was halfway decent at editing, I would put screenshots of you helping people out in the community. But ain't nobody got time for
No,
that.
no.
But seriously, I appreciate you and your support, and I'm looking forward to seeing like where this shit goes because you got a lot you got a lot of things in the pipeline.
Got a
So,
lot of things. It's very exciting.
and just in case anybody is wondering if this is like an AI generated human being that I'm sitting here talking to, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Have a Day Coaching.
Sweet. Sweet. Well, Carrie, I appreciate you so much for jumping on here. I'll see you in a couple days. And if you're a coach
Yeah.
watching this and you want our help starting scaling your training business online, booking a call with us, or if you got a call already scheduled, what are you doing? Get in the program. Anyway, appreciate y'all watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.